poor people, all they want is for us to fight. So if you hit me in my face, I'm not going to punch you back in your face. I'm going to go across your neck.
Well, her seems lovely. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another short form video. We're going to take a look at a wild moment from CNN that's blowing up the internet right now because a queer Democratic congressional candidate went on an extremely unhinged rant. This is Yolanda Jones, who is running for the House of Representatives in Texas. And she left even CNN host Erin Burnett kind of stunned with how unhinged and frankly violent this little rhetorical rant she just went on was. Let's take a look.
Work. I'm from the hood, okay? So when a bully comes, like, if there are no rules, you literally have to figure it out. So Donald Trump has changed things, and people trying to do what's always been done is not going to work. And I think that's why Democrats are losing black people. That's why they're losing poor people, because poor people, all they want is for us to fight. So if you hit me in my face, I'm not going to punch you back in your face. I'm going to go across your neck, because we can go back and forth fighting each other's faces. You've got to hit hard enough where they won't come back. And so, yeah, for the same way I went to New York and spoke with Governor Kathy Hochul and said, if they're going to try to wipe us out in Texas, we need to wipe out every Republican in New York, in California, in Illinois. So no one can make me feel bad about fighting for the people that I represent, because the people that I represent need someone who's willing to go in the ring and fight for them. And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
So, Representative, in that context, the reality of the world is we are...
And she just kept it moving, host Erin Burnett. No pushback on the slitting of the throat gesture, the violent rhetoric. This, of course, comes days after a Republican man was arrested for threatening Hakeem Jeffries, threatening to kill him. Comes weeks after Charlie Kirk was murdered. We had assassination attempts on Trump. All this political violence in our country. And yet we still have people going on talking about partisan politics, but using this violent rhetoric and language. I'm from the hood. Clearly you didn't leave, at least not mentally, because if you think it is appropriate as a want-to-be congresswoman to go on television and make a throat-slitting gesture about Republicans in this current climate, then you have absolutely no business doing anything in any serious position of power. You've proven yourself irresponsible and reckless beyond belief. And I really wish that Erin had called her out on that. Again, I think if a Republican went on that show and said something similar, she might have. But there is a bias that can creep into these kinds of things when you are reacting in real time. And it's interesting, though, because we do know, I think Erin would have been expecting her to possibly say something this extreme, because the whole point she brought her on, you can see on the Chiron, is that she is notoriously, this guest, kind of extreme in her rhetoric. So I would have liked to see Erin be prepared to push back on her, but she chose not to, I guess. My bigger concern is just with this escalation. I mean, we see just this extreme alarmist rhetoric across the board. I think we are seeing more of it lately from Democrats, but you also have Trump and Republicans calling people traitors and fascists and other things too. They're not exactly, shrinking violets with the words they use. Enemy of the public, enemy of the people. I just think we all need to calm down. We all need to stop this escalation, this tit for tat that we're on, because our country is heading off the rails and more people are going to get hurt if we keep spiraling and spiraling into this extremism and this rhetorical war. I really find it reprehensible. And then what I also find horrible is that this woman, Yolanda Jones, is endorsed, because she happens to be a lesbian, by all the major LGBT activist groups, including Victory Fund, the group that promotes LGBT candidates, but basically just Democrats. Yolanda Jones has a whole page, and they praise that she will be the first out LGBTQ black woman elected to Congress. That's what they lead with, as if, who cares about anything she stands for, or would do, or believes in. She's a black LGBTQ woman. Okay, Kim, people are dying. No one cares. No one should care one way or the other, if you ask me. But will they withdraw their endorsement after she's, going on television, engaging in this violent rhetoric? Will they, put out a statement distancing themselves from it? Don't hold your breath, because you'll pass out. Guys, do make sure to subscribe, like, comment, yada, yada, yeah. One more thing I want to say about this woman. I just want to play you another clip recently. So you can see this was not a one-time thing, because anybody can have a bad moment, but she does this kind of thing habitually, engaging in this extremist rhetoric. Here she is with, of course, Don Lemon, the failed CNN journalist turned independent YouTuber and podcaster. Yeah, of course, it's always him egging on the Delulu and the insanity these days. Let's listen to what she had to say in an interview with him a little while back.
And then integration happened and everybody thought they accept us. They don't accept us. They are showing us who they are. We should believe them. And we better have the courage to stand up. Otherwise, we will fall for anything. And in this country, we will be defeated, deported. We will lose all of our rights. And if you think it can't happen, it can. And I will liken this to the Holocaust. People are like, well, how did the Holocaust happen? How was somebody in a position to kill all them people? Well, good people remain silent. Or good people didn't realize that what happens to them can very soon happen to me or somebody I love. And so even if you made it, man, you have an obligation to help people who can't, because God forbid they end up targeting you and your family.
Man, it's just out of control. Suggesting black people are going to lose their rights or get deported by Trump. Look, I have plenty of criticisms of him, and he's doing plenty of things I don't agree with, but that's just not even in the stratosphere of reality. It's just making shit up. And here's the problem, is like, if you actually believed her that Trump was going to round up and deport black people, and you believed her words, comparing it to the Holocaust, quite literally, which again, I just find so insensitive and dismissive of the tragedies that the Jewish people and others endured in that time. But if one person out there listening to Don Lemon's show, because I know it's going to surprise y'all, but some people do listen to Don Lemon shows. In fact, he has like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of YouTube subscribers, way more than me. And if that doesn't tell you just how broken everything is, I don't know what will. But regardless, kind of the point here, if one person out there genuinely listens to her unhinged rhetoric and believes her, it would not take that much for them to go from the conclusion she's offering to an act of violence or assassination attempt. Really, if you truly believed her. And that is why public officials, and I apply this especially to politicians and candidates, but also to media personalities and political commentators and journalists and people like myself, have an obligation to always remember that someone crazy could we're not just being rhetorical. If we say stuff we know is outlandish and not true, if we hyper exaggerate everything to the 10th degree, it does not simply end there. We do have a responsibility for our words and our rhetoric, especially in this kind of contentious and extreme and increasingly violent and unhinged political moment that we are in. And everybody needs to do better, but there also needs to start being consequences. Like this woman, I don't know, she's one of a few candidates that could win this seat. I don't know if she will or not, but I would not expect any sort of widespread denunciation of her from the Democratic Party or serious. I mean, it might hurt her in the polls a little bit, but I think mostly this clip will do the rounds in conservative media. Liberal media will ignore it, and her campaign will continue unscathed. If anything, maybe some radical lefties will go donate to her or support her because they want a queen who fights back or whatever. And the whole country will just keep spiraling and like a snowball, get worse and worse and more extreme because other people will match this or exceed it or say, oh, you think you're going to slit our throats? We'll nuke you into oblivion. It's like, this path doesn't go anywhere good. It literally only leads to more violence, more hatred, more division, and more darkness. I'm really getting concerned, guys. And I also think the media needs to push back on this more. When somebody says something like that on television, that is your job as a journalist, is you're not just a microphone for the politicians to help them say whatever they want. You also have to scrutinize and push back on it. And we have to stop letting people just say this kind of thing and just go, okay, go off, queen. That's not journalism. That's just public relations. So find a new line of work if you're not prepared to challenge powerful people when they say dangerous and harmful things. That's my take. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Do make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, yada, yada, yada. Remember to check out my podcast, Brad versus Everyone, on all podcast platforms to get my long-form thoughts on social media and internet insanity from an independent perspective. If you enjoy the content, please consider becoming a member and supporting my work. And with that, guys, we'll talk again real soon.